Have you ever wondered what the world of Stalker would be like if you were to play in a similar fashion to an old school RuneScape Ironman? This run will take us on the journey of me discovering just that. In regards to the old video and mod that came before this video, we sat down and fleshed out some more of the mod to make it more approachable and feasible as a whole, as well as redoing and recreating some of the crafting recipes and components needed to make things so there is less I have to buy. Had to get rid of the old mod and all the old footage because there was no correlation to it, so we'll call the last video a trial run of this challenge. Now let's go over some things in the challenge that are our rules, and maybe visit somebody that we all know, albeit in VR. Hi, it's me. I'm in VR. So we're gonna go over the rules and everything else that I've talked about earlier, just to get it out of the way and to give you guys an idea as to what's going on. But starting, we have 1. I cannot buy any items or equipment from vendors other than junk items that have zero use other than crafting and fuel, though there are exceptions that I will talk about after this section. 2. I am not allowed to sell anything or make money in any other ways than questing and looting it as loose loot on bodies or from boxes in the world, which includes loose loot in the world as well. 3. I aim to complete the entire Invictus quest line, which, if you don't know what it is, I'll put the general rules right around here. If you need to read, I'll wait. 4. I am allowed to purchase certain gun oils and services from vendors, and I am allowing myself to buy the emergency armor repair kits due to the craft that exists in base game of being completely unviable, and really more of a pain to make when I can buy one for 2k. Plus, there are next to no ways for me to craft repair kits for my armor, and hoping that I'll get my hands on glues and things I really need in order to create repair kits from kills and stashes I search is too slim to be viable unless I want to run around with broken gear mid to late game. And now I'm going to talk about the exceptions, which are as follow. 1. I can purchase ammunition at vendors if and only if I break down all that I purchase in order to craft ammunition. This will always harm my investment, and I would be lucky to get maybe 50% of what I break back down. It doesn't tend to be 100%, doesn't even tend to be around 75%. I'm also allowing the use of ammunition from stashes and bodies as is due to the lack of ammunition that I could craft without these exceptions. 2. I am allowed to purchase ground coffee and mineral water, though I am not allowed to drink the mineral water as it is. I only use it to make coffee, and I don't really touch it early game anyways, and I've never really made coffee in a normal run because EpiPens are just easier to get in my opinion. 3. I am allowed to purchase water purification tablets to purify my water from medics. This is the only way to get more drinkable water without purifying it due to it being inconsistent as a lootable drop from kills and or finding it on the ground or as stash loot. And that's all I really need to say here. Goodbye forever. And with all of that out of the way, let's start our run-up. This run will start out with our loadout, which consists of one of all kinds of tooling, which I can turn in after finding better tooling, but not any sooner. A knife, a respirator for the most basic form of radiation protection, multi-tool to be able to disassemble the guns we get from looting bodies, and some cloth scraps plus a canteen of water in case I need to make bandages. Our protagonist for this run is truly Handsy. Don't read into the name too much. Last time around, we started in the Cordon to try and see how well our run would work, and this time around, we're going to start in Rostock for the centralized location plus the abundance of quests. Speaking of quests, we're going to immediately look through our PDA task board and take anything that seems feasible, such as looting a stash in Rostock just south of the southern checkpoint, and killing other mutants just south of the southern checkpoint. We'll go and knock that out, angering and fighting a couple of dogs, or a dog, while doing so. And we get a decent amount of early loot, such as components and medical supplies, as well as some currently useless ammunition. I decided to head back through Rostock to the Wild Territory due to both of the quest givers heading that way.
Иди своей дорогой, сталкер.
Hop into Wild Territory to see if they've moved areas yet. They haven't. So I run forward to get some loose gear on top of the car before having shots near land. Causes me to retreat. Back in Rostock, the guys who wanted those mutants dead and those documents retrieved decided to stick around the area for a little longer. Luckily for us. For after returning and handing both of those quests in, and checking out where the stashes they gave me as a reward are, I check our PDA task board for more tasks and decide where to go next. So before I go, I pick up some hammers and a recipe book from Handgun, the local mechanic, so I can work on getting some basic storage down, though we currently don't have the supplies to do so.
Хаюшки!
Ну, что расскажешь?
With that, we head into the garbage. A great place for this challenge, due to the flea market and butcher in the area, can give us daily quests to go and hunt mutants in the area for pay. We decide to stop by the flea market and talk to the daytime vendor here to buy some junk that we can disassemble for scrap some parts, while also looting around the location for some loose junk items. After grabbing what we can from here and the surrounding areas, we head down towards the train hangar. One of our quests tasks us with killing some of the flesh that are just roaming outside the area, though they eventually take care of themselves whilst chasing them. I decided to go back through the hangar towards another mutant pack we've been tasked with to kill. Though I try to bait the pseudo dog that we're supposed to kill into a singular loner that I was fully expecting to die to them. Just for him to live, and for me to lose a chunk of my leg due to thinking the dog couldn't lunge up to me on top of a pipe. After loosely patching up, I talk to Butcher for my reward and head back up to Rostock.
Ти впораєшся.
After arriving back in Rostock, the first course of action is to go turn in all of our quests for cash to get recipes unlocked and storage crafted, so I do just that. I head up to the northern checkpoint to turn in a quest, and then head back to Mangun to browse his recipe books, eventually settling on the one that'll allow me to craft a much better knife, and some grenades when we get the scrap and the powder, if I remember to.
А, привет!
Ти впораєшся.
After crafting up our new shiny knife and a box to store all of our stuff that I've collected so far, I decided to head back to the truck cemetery to attempt some quests that I accepted earlier. Now that we're in Truck Cemetery, let me talk about the location as a whole. Got loads and loads and loads of loose loot that we can find, but at the same time, it's full of radiation and other anomalous areas that I can't really venture into right now. Mutants can be scary too, but as long as it isn't a chimera or a pseudo-giant or a controller, then it really doesn't matter what it is that we come across due to my experience meleeing stuff to death in my past melee-only Invictus, which I did over on Twitch ages ago. Unfortunately, it wasn't a chimera that we found. It happened to be a black chimera, which has a higher health pool and generally higher resistances too. But after luring it to an area where I can dance around with the big cat, I fell into a rhythm of chase and stab until eventually, you know, it gave up. reward me with a pelt along with some of its parts. The pelt surprised me so much that I had to pause due to the rarity of animal pelts in general in Gamma. Even with the pelt having such a low quality, almost 40%, sitting at around 38%, it's still an extremely good pelt to have early due to the stats it can give. After recovering from stabbing one of the most dangerous mutants in the zone, to death, I walked to the stashes we have marked on the map that are close, as well as heading to the stash we needed for our quest. I'm not the smartest person, so finding the stash on the helicopter took me a second. Please don't judge me for it. Or do. I really don't care either way. After looting that stash, I decided to just head back to Rostock to regroup and figure out what to do next. Now that we're in Rostock, I think I'm going to start ending this episode while I move around turning quests in and handling some crafting, which eventually does result in us getting a sawed-off TAS 34 shotgun, which, as a first gun, may not be much, but it can protect us if need be. I'm curious as to how you guys feel about the challenge run so far, and I would love to hear any feedback in the comments so I can answer or change certain things in the mods that I'm using, or maybe there are a few tips that I don't know about that I could utilize in this run. Just to clarify on the tips, I don't mean anything that will cheese or detract from the challenge as a whole, such as the medical items cheesing Yantar, or farming Phantom Stars to completely bypass Brain Scorcher later on. There will be live audio that eventually starts cutting in when the voiced-over bits have downtime in the later episodes, but for the first few episodes, I still didn't have my audio working right when I was recording the first few hours.
Ну, здорово.
Хаюшки!
Thanks for watching. Please feel free to share this with anyone who you think, might be interested in it. It helps me want to continue making and sharing content. Feel free to give this a like and maybe subscribe, though, you know, I don't really upload enough to make subscriptions worthwhile. Have a good day.